லைவ் வந்துருச்சு. ஜஸ்ட் லைவ் செக் பண்ணு. It's live. Agency, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, I think it is on live, ma'am.
Ma'am?
YouTube, it is on live, ma'am.
Okay, okay, ma'am.
You are ready to go.
Okay, ma'am.
Agency, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Just can just Agency, ma'am, can you ask the guest to present the screen? We'll just check whether it is on live, it is correct in the live.
Sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. I'll inform.
Live கேக்குதா? Live. Liveல present screen present தெரியுதா? இருங்க, கொஞ்சம் பொறுமையா தான் வரும். டிலேவா தான் வரும். காமிக்குது அவ்வளோதான்.
Jency ma'am, shall we start? Ma'am, am I audible?
Ma'am, good morning. We can start the session, ma'am.
Yeah,
You're
okay.
audible.
Yeah, sir. You're audible.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure and excitement that I extend to you all a warm welcome to this 2-week workshop on SPSS and Amos. We are gathered here today to embark on a journey of discovery, learning, and mastery of these powerful statistical tools. First and foremost, I would like to welcome our Honorable Speaker, Dr. B. Chinna Muthu, Assistant Professor of Commerce at Madras Christian College, who has graciously accepted our invitation and gave his presence today. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
I take immense pleasure to welcome our respected Dean Major Dr. Venkatramanan sir, SRM Institute of Science and Technology, who has been a major backbone for the institution. I also welcome our Vice Principal Academic, Dr. V. Saravanan, and Vice Principal Admin, Dr. J. Dilipan, who has been always a pillar of support to our department. It's my pleasure to welcome our leading light, Dr. S. Chitra, Head, Department of Commerce, who has been constantly extending her love and support to the team. In addition, I cordially invite Dr. T.B. Ambuli and Dr. P. Sushila, program coordinators and lifelines of our department. Over the next 2 weeks, we will delve deep into the domain of SPSS and Amos. These tools are not just software programs, they are gateways to unlock insights from data, empowering us to make informed decisions and drive impactful changes in our research. Throughout this workshop, we have created a comprehensive modules designed to provide you with a solid foundation in both SPSS and Amos, from basic data management and analysis techniques to advanced structural equation modeling. Our expert instructors will guide you every step of the way. But this workshop is not just about lectures and presentation. It is all about collaborations, interaction, and hands-on learning. We encourage you to actively participate, ask questions, and engage with your peers. After all, the best learning often happens through shared experience and collective knowledge. As we embark on this journey together, let us hold the challenges, celebrate the victories, and cherish the moment of enlightenment. May this workshop be a catalyst for growth, innovation, and transformation in our professional journey. Once again, I welcome you to this 2-week workshop on SPSS and Amos. Now, it's time to introduce our chief guest, guest speaker, Dr. Chinna Muthu, who has been working as Assistant Professor in Department of Commerce at Madras Christian College since 2018. He received his MPhil and PhD in Commerce from the University of Madras through Madras Christian College. His area of expertise is finance, human resource, and entrepreneurship. He is a recipient of UGC Junior Research Fellowship and an awardee of ICSSR Minor Project on Women Entrepreneurship during the year 2019-20. The World Bank funded TNH SRP research project on 108 emergency ambulance service during the year 2021-22. And apart from these, he was also the awardee of 3 ICSSR minor projects. The research contribution of Dr. B. Chinna Muthu covers financial inclusion, financial counseling, rural development, women entrepreneurship, and employee engagement. Dr. B. Chinna Muthu has authored and edited books on rural development, financial inclusion, and women entrepreneurship. He has published 30 research articles in peer-reviewed journals, 21 research articles in conference proceeding, and presented 37 research papers in national and international conferences, out of which 10 papers were acknowledged with Best Paper Award. Dr. B. Chinna Muthu has served as a research person for 53 invited lectures across colleges and B School. He also conducted workshops on research methodology, questionnaire preparation, research ethics, plagiarism, proposal writing, and data analytics in social science research using SPSS and Amos. Being a recognized research supervisor at the University of Madras, Dr. B. Chinna Muthu is currently guiding 4 research scholars, and he has also served as member of examination committee during the year 2001 to 23 and associate coordinator of Institute of Administrative Service coaching as well. On behalf of our institution and department, I extend a particular warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Uh,
Thank you.
we can start the session and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Monisha, for this wonderful day and also a brief introduction. And it's
Thank
really a great moment for me to join this very first day of this 2 weeks workshop on quantitative research using SPSS and Amos. And first and foremost, I would like to thank and place on record my sincere appreciation to the SRM Institute of Science and Technology, especially the Ramapuram campus, and the Faculty of Science and Humanities, Department of Commerce, Flaming Falcons, for organizing this wonderful workshop. And on seeing the WhatsApp group, I was astonished to see that nearly 1,000 participants, I think it has crossed 900 plus, have registered for this workshop. And I also see slowly people are joining in Gmeet as well as in the live YouTube streaming. So, great morning to each and every one of you, those who have presented in Gmeet as well as in YouTube. So, formally, I would like to place on my sincere thanks to Dr. J. Dileepan, Professor and Head, Vice Principal Admin, Dr. V. Saravanan, Vice Principal Academics, and Major Dr. M. Venkatraman, Dean of Faculty of Social Science and Humanities. So it's always very special to engage any program with the Department of Commerce under the headship of Dr. Chitra Srinivasan Madam, Professor and Head, because ma'am is always have great warmth and welcoming all the resource person at campus as well as off campus too. My special regards to program coordinator Dr. T.V. Ambuli and Dr. P. Sushila. Last but not least, the conveners, those who are really putting their heart and soul in organizing this 2 weeks workshop, Madam Kartiki Selvi, Professor Enoch, my super senior at MCC, and also Professor Monisha, Professor Revati, and Professor Maria Jensi. So today, I think who are more special in this workshop is all the participants. So, most respected professors, esteemed research scholars, and my dear student friends, I'm really glad to be part of this workshop, and that too on the very first day to discuss on the basics of SPSS. So I know that most of you may have very many expectations on SPSS and Amos, and the level of knowledge towards SPSS and Amos may vary from one person to another. Somebody may not aware of SPSS, some may have very good awareness about SPSS with regards to a statistical test, coding, and everything. So, how are we going to make this journey all these 3 days? Because I think I'm going to join all these 3 days to discuss on SPSS by covering its basics, bivariate analysis, and multivariate analysis. So, first, I will give you my plan of presentation for the day. Now it is almost 10:15, and we are going to extend this presentation till 11:30 possibly. Even if you have any further discussion, we can encourage it. So now the plan of presentation for the day, we are going to start with brief discussion on the process of quantitative research, then to discuss on research data and its type, contents of the questionnaire, types of variables, levels of measurement, parametric and non-parametric test, data coding in Excel, and statistical analysis using SPSS. It is going to be an hands-on. And today we are not going to discuss anything on the major statistical test. Today our ultimate aim is just to explore about SPSS software application and how to understand it better and how to proceed with the coding and how to see all the tree channels of SPSS software. Before getting into SPSS software, can somebody tell me what comes to your mind when you think about SPSS? I'm not asking about your research work or data analysis or anything. Just when you hear this term SPSS, what comes to your mind? I want all these 100 participants to use your chat box, or you can unmute and talk, because this 1.5 hours, this 90 minutes is going to be you and me. Nothing, nobody is going to interrupt between us. So you always feel free to raise questions and start your discussions and clarify your doubts. So we can take it little interactive. So first put it in a chat box. What comes to your mind when you hear or think about this software application called SPSS? Can I see some volunteers giving some chat responses? Yes, anyone? Perfect. I think Madam Shruti Priya has kick-started it. Statistical package for social sciences. Perfect. That is the actual explanation for this acronym SPSS. Is used for data analysis, better interpretation. Yes, it is used for research purpose. Right. Very happy for this four responses. When you think about this SPSS or else Amos, this is not a well-versed software. When I talk about the well-versed software, these are not the basic software application that is used by all the communities. When you think about Python R, which is coming up, MATLAB and so many other software application, it is quite popular. Why it is very popular? Because it is free. But when coming to SPSS or Amos, you need to spend at least 1.5 lakhs to 2 lakhs for its subscription. Even many institutions always think before they go for a subscription for SPS and Amos, because they need to spend lakhs and lakhs for subscription. When you talk about this SPSS software, it was invented or it was actually programmed by three legends from the Stanford University. Later, they moved on to University of Chicago. Mainly, the three people are Norman Hadley and Mr. Dale. Initially, the software was actually free like Python and R. Later, they want to make money, so they started to make money with the small subscriptions. Then, only after 50 years, right in the year 2009, IBM has acquired this SPSS and they started coming up with so many versions and inventions, and they have added so many add ons to the software. Now, it is ultimately popular for doing an academic research. If you ask me that whether SPSS norms are well versed in usage in scientific institutions, that is not true, because so many other powerful statistical softwares are in use. But if you take academic research like writing a paper or to have a very good PhD research work with quantitative analysis, I think SPSS has its own speciality to do. Then now, can somebody guess what is the recent version of SPSS that people are using across globe? Anyone? Can you please comment any guess number of the versions that SPSS now they are coming up with? I think I still remember using the SPSS 15th version. Now, can somebody guess what is the latest version of SPSS or Omnus? Am I audible to all first? Or you're all not awake yet?
Sir, you are audible, sir.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Okay, Madam Harshini has stated 24th version. Very good, yes. Perfect. Yes, it is 29. 29 is the recent SPSS version as well as almost version to use. I think it's technically uh, very good. But one thing is, if you would have used if you would have used SPSS version 1520, you can come across all the basic tests. But currently, the SPSS 29th version has become very costly, and you have to subscribe all the tests separately. There will be one basic SPSS version, and there will be some more add-ons that you have to purchase like regression analysis, exact test, and so on. So these discussions are all about SPSS. Now, coming to quantitative research, I know that you all are being a researchers, and you would have already come across so many types of methodologies and research methods. But according to me, it's my personal opinion, research always can be classified into two types based on its data, based on its intensity. One is quantitative, another one is qualitative. If you want to use SPSS for data analysis, which type of research methodology you should indulge with? Qualitative or quantitative? Yes, qualitative or quantitative? Anybody? Perfect. Answer is
Quantitative.
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 Yes. Excellent. For qualitative, we have some other software applications to do some language analysis, NLP, and so on, content analysis, and so on. So, based on that, we tend to do some analysis. But when coming to quantitative research, we can use SPSS, Amos, Python, R, MATLAB, and so many other number of tools that are available. But SPSS almost has its own significance in data analysis. I've just given some a basic flow chart on how to go with quantitative research. First, all being a researcher, we all need to identify our research area. Then we need to identify the research problem. After understanding the problem, we should continuously go for reviewing the literature by identifying a research gap. After identifying a research gap, you have to frame a proper objectives. Based on objectives, you have to frame tentative hypothesis. In order to check the hypothesis, in order to proceed with the research objectives, you have to frame a proper quantitative research methodology. And when you talk about quantitative research methodology, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about methodology, especially quantitative one? Statistical measures, very good. Yes. Anything else? Is anything else? I can also see that many are responding in YouTube live also. Very good. Yes. Collection of data, excellent. When you talk about methodology, the first thing that comes to your mind is collection of data. And within the collection of data, all you would have been worried about is sampling technique and or the sample size. So this is very important. And after defining the sampling technique or sampling method or sample size, what is your next work? If you're going to procure primary data, what is your next work? If you decided to procure primary data, which is quantitative in nature, what is your next worry? Yes, you have selected the sampling method, you have defined the sample size, and you want to procure a primary data. So what is your next worry? Using SPSS? Yes. Okay. Right. I totally agree with you. In between that, what you need to prepare?
Sir, questionnaire.
Perfect. That is the right answer. You have to prepare either questionnaire or interview schedule. So I think this is what this flowchart is all about. You start with formulation of research problem, then you prepare a proper sample selection, you do a pilot study, you also prepare a data for analysis. Finally, you will come across to a conclusion to answer the research problem or to bring solution for the research problem. And now next, what are the two types of data? One is primary, another one is
Secondary data.
right. Friends, I'm going to ask very basic question. Don't feel very offended why this fellow is asking silly question. I just want you to be very awake and alert during this session. My questions will be very simple and also silly, but I feel that you will all be very responsive in uh, providing me an answer. Primary and secondary data. Very good. With regard to quantitative research, we concentrate more on primary data or secondary data.
Both. Both.
Okay, but which is more
Primary
important?
data.
Primary
Primary
data.
data.
Perfect. Yes. So we concentrate more on primary data. In order to collect primary data, what are all the techniques that we have?
Telephone method.
Perfect.
Direct
We should either conduct interview or we should go for a survey through questionnaire, or it's more scientific, we will undergo observation or experiments. But today our session is on spaces data analysis. If that is going to be the case, out of this four method, which would be more effective or which would be more useful for spaces data analysis? Definitely
Questionnaire
we would
method.
use
Questionnaire.
Perfect. Yes. We can use SPSS for all the four methods, but questionnaire and survey is a very appropriate method of primary data collection to utilize SPSS for data collection. So that is the perfect answer. Now coming to data analysis. So what are the types of data analysis that we have? Descriptive, exploratory, predictive, inferential analysis. So, out of this four analysis, which you seems very basic or it's very important? Excellent. Descriptive analysis. If you would have already studied some basic statistics, can somebody tell me what are all comes under descriptive analysis? What comes to your mind when you think about descriptive analysis? I'm not exactly asking some test, but what comes to your mind?
Market research.
Market research, yes. Can you name few statistical words that is very much related to descriptive analysis? The very first chapter of all your business statistics paper or statistics paper in your excellent Madam Harshini, yes. Answer is mean median mode. Perfect, yes. Without this mean median mode, no statistics may kick started. And also, when you study about this mean median mode, what comes in addition? That is variance, standard deviation, and so on, right? And when
Correlation.
correlation, excellent, yes. So when you talk about this
Percentiles
mean
and quartiles.
perfect, perfect. Because percentile and quartile, everything is related to descriptive analysis. But when essential tendency, that is a mid value. Perfect. What is a very simplified name for mean?
Average.
That's all. So, all you need to understand today is when you think about descriptive analysis, all you need to remember is mean values or averages. Forget about all other things, median, mode, standard deviation, percentile, or quartiles, everything. All you need to understand is in SPSS data analysis or any statistical analysis, the very first thing that you need to come across is descriptive analysis. When you think about descriptive analysis, all you need to remember is mean or averages. That is going to be very powerful to proceed with any type of analysis using SPSS. And again, exploratory, we are not going to pitch in much. Predictive, we are not going to pitch in much. But inferential analysis is very important. Whatever statistical test that you use, end of the day, what you will be providing? Inferences. So inferential interpretation, excellent. So in order to provide a valid inferences, you have to do some inferential analysis using multiple statistical tests. So all you need to understand with regard to data analysis is that descriptive analysis and inferential analysis is something that is very essential for us to proceed with. Now this is a question, common question. You all know that in order to do data analysis with using SPSS, you need data, and you need to collect data using what?
Primary method.
Primary
Yes,
data, questionnaire,
using which
surveys,
tool?
interviews.
Excellent. The tool
Questionnaire method.
is questionnaire or interview schedule. Now, if you want to do a perfect data analysis for your study, right? In which area you need to spend more time? Or I will ask you, I would ask you in this way: if you spend more time in this area, all the further proceedings will be perfect. For example, your data analysis will be good, your presentation will be good. Yes, I'm getting few answers. Yes, few others, right? I think Madam Gauri has provided a wonderful answer. This is the area, that is preparation of questionnaire is an area where you have to really put in more time in order to do a better data analysis using SPSS. Right? So you need to be very careful in preparing a questionnaire. Now, can somebody tell me what are the basic contents of a questionnaire? In questionnaire, what we will be having?
Demographic questions, sir.
So basically, we will have questions. As Madam rightly said, we will have demographic questions. Yes. Can somebody try little more? If you are asked the contents of the questionnaire, what are the contents of the questionnaire? Statements and variables, excellent.
Right, sir.
Yes, madam?
It will depend upon the study.
Okay, depend upon the study, but you just comment it by considering a very basic questionnaire. Yes, I think Francis Samuel
Age,
has made it
income,
open-ended and closed-ended.
occupation.
Wonderful. Yes.
So based on the
Yes.
objectives, we will set the questionnaire.
Yes, based on the objectives.
Okay. Perfect. Right. Based on the objectives, we prepare a questionnaire, and questionnaire consists of basic questions. And as you all pointed out, it will also have demographic questions, open-ended, closed-ended. Right. Now I'm going with what? Variables. So, what is actually variable stands for? When we say questionnaire contents consist of questions, variables are all considered to be each question that you're including in your questionnaire. When coming to variables, what comes to your mind? There are two types of variables. What are they?
Discrete and continuous.
Discrete and continuous, not very technically, some basic types of variables. Answer is right. Very basic understanding. What are the two types of variables that we need to consider while preparing questionnaire?
Dependent and independent.
Nominal and
That's
ordinal
Dependent
all.
and
The
variables.
answer
independent.
is very simple. Independent variables and dependent
Independent.
variables. Right. I think now I can understand the spirit of this research participants, workshop participants, that you're all very well versed about major research areas, major research contents like independent variables. Can somebody give me some examples for independent variables? If you're going to load your questionnaire with variables, especially you're going to load with independent variables and dependent variables, what are all the questions that you will ask in order to list out or in order to procure data related to independent variables? Give some examples. Yes. What questions that we normally ask to procure independent variables? You all know the answer. Income, very good.
So the
Sir,
demographic
demographic profile can
All
be considered
demographic
as
profile questions are basically
basically independent
independent.
variable.
Yes, like age,
எல்லாருக்காமா
gender, your
இன்னும் வேணுமா
family type, family size, everything comes under independent. Now tell me what are all comes under dependent variable. Dependent variables. Okay, normally dependent variables are asked in a form of statements. Very good. Yes, but give some examples. Again, it is objective related. Perfect. Yes. If you're going to study the consumer's level of consumer satisfaction for using of one product, all the demographic details of consumer is going to be independent variable and his consumer satisfaction. I think Madam Chandra has provided a valid answer. Customer satisfaction, investors preference, and their yes usage, and everything is going to be dependent variables. Very good. Oh, good. Yes, I think Karthikeyan sir has stated influencing factors. Perfect. All these will come under dependent variables. So now I'm just technically going to give an outline of variables in research. We have independent on one hand, and other hand will have dependent variable. So independent variable will always influence the dependent variable, and dependent variable will be an outcome variable influenced by independent variable. In general, independent variable vary from one person to another, and it will not be affected by the dependent variable. This is a general understanding about variables in research. So now, after understanding the variable, now we are moving on to the technical side of data analysis or levels of measurement of data. So I have given like three type of data, okay, or three type of measures that we can have. One is scale, other one is nominal, and other one is ordinal, right? Hope you're already aware of all these measures. Yes. How many of you are aware of all these measures? Can I see some yes or no in the chat box? So that we can explain everything in further in detail, and then we shall move on. Scale variables, ordinal variables, nominal variables. Okay, right. So when you talk about categorical data, it always consists of nominal and ordinal data. When you talk about quantitative continuous data, you have to remember scale, right? For example, if you talk about marital status, married, unmarried, gender, male, female, then it is a categorical data and it is nominal in nature. You will not find any order or rank. In case if you find any data in order, for example, if you are measuring a satisfaction level of a consumer in a rank of 1 to 10, in a scale of 1 to 5, then it follows certain order, it is called as ordinal data. But coming to scale, it is normally continuous in nature. We shall discuss everything one by one. And dear participants, I want you all to be very alert from now on, from this slide onwards, because these are going to directly reflect on your statistical analysis using SPSS. So when starting from nominal, it is a named variable. For example, if you are going to have some discontinuous data in your questionnaire, gender, male, female, that's all. But if you have a variable which is named and also been ordered, example, you have one statement and you're asking strongly agree, disagree, neutral, disagree, and strongly disagree. The variables are named but also in particular rank or order, then it is called as ordinal. But if you are saying something as a scale, which will have a name, which will follow certain order, it will also have certain intervals, proportionate intervals. We're going to discuss that in detail now. So now nominal scale, right? I have given totally different questions here, right? I have totally given different questions here, which I've taken from online careerfoundry.com. If you're asking a question related to eye color, smartphone, or which transportation you uses, right? You are actually procuring nominal data, right? It is just a named, which is not following any order, which is not having any proportionate intervals. Can somebody tell me some questions which are always nominal in nature? We take some time, we think, we discuss, and we move on. There is nothing to hurry because we are going to have 2 more days to deal with statistical analysis. We just understand the basics now. Can somebody tell me any few number of questions? Yes, demographics fine, but demographics do have all type of, can do have scale data
Gender,
as well as nominal data. Yes, what is the first response? Gender, perfect. If you ask gender, it is just a named categorical data, male, female. Anything else? Name normally we don't include for analysis, right? Age, I think Madam Nagalakshmi is in full form today. Age, when it will be a nominal, when it can be a scale. Again, income, when it can be scale, when it can be nominal. I think Madam Nagalakshmi can respond or anyone can respond. Can age be both scale as well as nominal? It cannot be ordinal, definitely. But age can be in scale as well as nominal. Yes, anyone? Okay, I will give you an answer. In case if you are asking exact age of a person through your questionnaire, in years. It is a scale data. So people will tell 18, 21, 41, 43. It will always be, the data will have a proper order. It will also have a proper name in numbers, and it always have a proper valid measure in years, in months. Similarly, if you are asking a direct income, right, then it is having a proper measure like in rupees or dollars. And again, you are exactly asking their income. It is scale, right? So now I have give you an explanation about scale variable for age and income. Now tell me how it can be also nominal.
So from this age to this age, that age, like that,
Excellent.
sir.
When you are providing a slab for age, income, example, up to 20 years, 21 to 30 years, 31 to 40 years, above 40 years. Now, the group is named, but it is not following an order, and there is no proper measure. So, it is a nominal data. Similarly, if you're asking up to an income of 1 lakh, then 1 lakh 1 rupee to 5 lakh, 5 lakh 1 rupee to 10 lakh, then automatically it will become a nominal data, right? Yes. Uh, yes, madam. I think Shruti Priya madam has brightly said, if the data is in binary, like yes, no, or if you're putting into particular ranges, it will automatically become nominal. See, friends, I think that I know that I'm taking much time on this measures, but I normally take more time for this measures because I feel it is very imperative for data analysis. So now you would have been very clear with this scale data, nominal data, and ordinal data. I think we shall move on to ordinal scale. So what we are seeing here, I think this is most favorite scale that we normally use in almost all questionnaire. You cannot do any analysis or you cannot find any questionnaire without 5-point Likert scale. That is strongly agree to strongly disagree, right? If I think I always say, if you couldn't see a 5-point Likert scale in any questionnaire, you feel very sick. How can someone prepare such a kind of questionnaire? And can somebody tell me, normally this Likert scale is used to measure independent variable or a dependent variable? Anyone? Independent variable or a dependent variable?
Dependent variable, sir.
Excellent. Dependent variable, yes. And I really thank everyone, those who are responding in live YouTube also, right? That's really a very great attitude of all. So now ordinal data, it's all about following a particular order, and also the data should be named or it should be ranked. For example, school grades, and you're exactly asking education level and you're following some seniority level, then it will become an ordinal data. I'm not going in detail with the interval scale because normally we don't go with the interval scale and ratio scale in our questionnaire, but in order to understand the scale better, I have given all these detail. So this is a slide which I normally use to make people understand about the differences between various measure. If you say Madam Sue is young and Madam Mary is old, that is a nominal data. It is just a category which is named. If you say Sue is younger than Mary, then it follows certain order, then it is an ordinal data. Then if you go for interval, Sue is 20 years younger than Mary with some definite interval, then it is interval data. And finally, ratio, which we normally don't use. Sue is twice as young as Mary, then it is a ratio with the proper proportion, right? Now, I am also going to talk about few things with regard to statistic test, which is actually discussing on parametric and non-parametric test. How many of you are aware of parametric and non-parametric in SPSS? And if you're aware, you can unmute and tell me what is parametric test, what is non-parametric test. Anyone? When your data have a proper distribution, normal distribution like this bell curve, can you see under parametric test, there is a bell curve, there is a proper distribution which is highly randomized, which have a very good normality, you use parametric test. when your data doesn't follow a normal distribution, use a non-parametric test. If you're really interested in statistics, I want you all to spend some 30-40 minutes to read about only parametric and non-parametric test and what is normal distribution and so on. This bell-shaped curve is something that all statisticians will be worried about, and even being a researcher, we need to be very much aware about this normal distribution. As we do analysis, we will discuss about it. And one thing I always want to insist is, since I already told you that mean average is very powerful to understand the data, similarly, the parametric tests run with mean. Non-parametric tests run with median because there is no proper distribution. This is something technical that you need to understand, but I'm not going in detail to it. So this is the basic difference between parametric test and non-parametric test. When you have a proper distribution with your population and sample, you will use parametric test. If you don't have a proper distribution in your derived sample or a drawn sample, you will use non-parametric test. Can you all see the measure of central tendency? Here the measure of central tendency average is mean. Here it is median. So this is what you need to understand. But other than that, it is very technical. We will move on. And this table, I think if possible, you can take a screenshot, or I will share it in your group through the admins. If you are following a parametric test, you can have certain tests like mean standard deviation, one sample t-test, and paired t-test, ANOVA, Pearson correlation, regression, multiple linear regression, etc. If your sample doesn't follow a normal distribution, and if you want to use a non-parametric test, then you have to use median, Wilcoxon test, Mann-Whitney, Kruskal-Wallis, Frischmann's, Spearman correlation, and non-parametric regression. I just want you to give a small prelude on it. Today, as well as all the upcoming 2 days, we are going to discuss only on parametric test, because I insist all the researchers to use mostly the parametric test to have a better results. Yes, madam. T-test, F-test, Z-test. Normally, we don't go with the Z-test. Normally, they say Z-test is for large sample above 30, but SPSS do not have such provision to run Z-test. You can manually do a Z-test. Otherwise, T-test and F-test or ANOVA is fine for us. Fine. So, this thing that you all need to aware, we have two type of tests in statistics. One is parametric, another one is non-parametric. If your sample have a normal distribution, right, you should use parametric test. If it is not following a normal distribution, you should use non-parametric test. So I always say, when your data is reliable and having a very good level of normality, you have to use parametric test. Please be very careful about it. And we are also going to study only parametric test in this workshop, which consists of t-test, ANOVA, correlation, regression. Non-parametric test we are not going to touch. Now, I think so far, what are all the topics we have discussed? Can somebody sum up? I think it's almost 40 minutes, 35 to 40 minutes. Can somebody tell me what are all the topics we discussed now? We started with process of quantitative research. Very good. Yes. Then we touched upon types of data. Yes. And in order to collect the primary data, we touched upon questionnaire. We discussed on contents of questionnaire. Can somebody tell me what are the contents?
Independent variables and dependent.
Perfect. Independent variable and dependent variables. Then we also understood what are independent and dependent variables. Based on the independent and dependent variable, we also discussed various measures of data, level of measurements. What are the measures we studied? Scale, nominal, ordinal. I repeat, scale, nominal, ordinal. Now, this is a very crucial area that I want you all to think. In questionnaire normally prepared by all the social science researchers, what are all the scale that we normally use? What are the measures that we normally use? Nominal and ordinal. Very good. You can find all the demographic variables are following a nominal measure, and all the dependent variable are following an ordinal measure. Clear? Any doubt? I want you all to be very clear in this area, I want you to be very thorough with this. We actually follow a questionnaire consists of two type of measures. One is nominal measure and other one is ordinal measure. Do we normally prepare any questionnaire with scale related questions or scale measures? Anyone? Normally we won't. In social science researches, we always go with the nominal and ordinal. Normally we won't. But these are the measures that will be there in your questionnaire. But SPSS will accept only two measures in order to have a data analysis or using a proper statistical test. I'm just going to show what are the two measures. One is nominal, another one is scale. So in questionnaire, what are the measures that we are going to use? Can somebody tell me?
Both.
Nominal and ordinal. We won't use
Scale.
perfect. But in SPSS, we need only two measures. One is nominal, another one is scale. Now tell me, is it really possible to do data analysis without scale? Answer is no. But a questionnaire is not having scale. What are we going to do about it? This is where all the researchers need to be very careful. I think this is what always statistics is all about. In a questionnaire, you are going to have only nominal measures by giving some gender related question or demographic questions. We are going to have an ordinal data by giving a 5-point Likert scale question or 7-point Likert scale questions. But SPSS need nominal measure and scale measure to do statistical test. How are we going to match the data? Can somebody think and answer? Questionnaire got nominal, ordinal. SPSS needs nominal and scale. How are we going to manage this gap? Yes, anyone? You can unmute and answer, or you can put it in the chat box. Anything is fine. Yes, can somebody tell me what we can do? Excellent. We have to convert. I think Madam Swarnapriya has correctly given an answer. Madam is very well versed in the subject as well. We have to convert ordinal to scale. Thank you, Madam, for joining as well as responding to this question. Perfect. We need to convert the ordinal data into scale data or scale measure in order to proceed with the statistical test. So I think this is something that we are going to follow throughout these 3 days. This is a statistical analysis table that I normally prepare and present to all my participants whenever I go for any workshop as such. When you use SPSS for data analysis, right? For example, if you want to run one sample t-test, independent t-test, ANOVA, chi-square, correlation, regression. These are all bivariate, univariate, bivariate and multivariate analysis, right? Can you see all the 4 columns here? Is this clearly visible to all? What is the first column? First column talking about variable measure. Second column talking about only measure. Third column talking about what test can be used or should be used. And finally, how are we going to frame the hypothesis? This table, I want you all to take a screenshot, or you can, and I can also post it later through admins in WhatsApp group. First, tell me, what is this one group represents? What is this group actually represents? You have decided your objectives, you have framed your questionnaire, and you have collected data. And will you be finding any groups from the data that you have collected? Maybe leave the first one. We go with the second one. Two groups. Can you consider that your sample can be bifurcated into two groups or differentiated into two groups? Is that possible?
Yes, sir.
Yes. How?
So maybe if you are taking, so samples may not always be homogeneous. No? They might have
Okay.
heterogeneous subgroups.
Okay.
Like maybe if you're taking religions, in India we don't just have Hindu, we have Hindu, Muslim, Christians.
Perfect. Right. Excellent. That is the right answer. Example, if you're asking one question, gender, and you're giving two responses as male, female. If you want, you can add third gender also. Now tell me, if you're going to give two options, male and female, your sample is divided into how many groups?
Two.
That's all. It's a very simple answer. Your sample is divided into two groups. Maybe if you are given third gender also, male, female, and third gender, then again your sample is divided into how many groups? Three
More than
groups. Perfect. If you haven't given anything, you are just going to measure the overall satisfaction level of the sample. All 500 people responses towards one question, the level of satisfaction. How many groups that we have? One group. Only one group. We are all going to measure them only with the one particular variable, consumer satisfaction, without any differentiation. Right? In case if you're asking about an income group, for example, up to 1 lakh, 1 lakh 1 rupee to 5 lakh, 5 lakh 1 rupee to 10 lakh, and above 10 lakh. How many groups I have totally?
5.
4 to 5 groups. So, which is above 3 groups. So, if you're going to measure data by considering your entire sample, for example, if your sample size is 300, if you're going to consider the entire sample as one group, and you need what measure? Nominal data, ordinal data, or scale?
Scale.
Scale measure, and you can use one sample t-test. In case if you have a sample with two groups, for example, gender, male and female, and you need to measure, how you will normally measure the gender?
nominal.
Nominal. And if you want to compare them with the satisfaction level of male and female, then the dependent variable should be in what form? Independent variable should be nominal, that is gender. Dependent variable should be in a measure of scale. Then you can use independent t-test. Then if you have more than two groups, for example, if you have divided your sample of 300 units into four different groups based on their income level, then your independent variable is going to be nominal. If you're going to compare their income level with the purchasing power or purchasing decision, which is a dependent variable, then your dependent variable should be in a measure of scale, where you can use ANOVA, and it is also called as what test? F test, right? Again, you have two groups or more than two groups. Both independent and dependent variable are going to be nominal, right? For example, it is going to be like your income level, which is nominal, and you are going to check your income level with the usage of online platform by giving an option Amazon, Flipkart, Meesho, right? If you want to compare this both nominal and nominal data, you have to use which test? Chi-square test. Chi-square is called as a perfect test, which is part of both parametric and non-parametric. You all need to understand. Now, these are the bivariate tests that you can always think about. One is one sample t-test, other one is independent t-test, ANOVA, chi-square. You can also include correlation, right? And regression with one independent and dependent variable, which we are going to discuss tomorrow, not today, right? So, friends, you may think why I'm spending more time on this table. If you understand this table, data analysis will be just a very simple work according to you. It is not going to be a very serious work for you. So all you need to understand is what is considered as a variable measure and what measures we need and how are we going to test and what is the major content of hypothesis. In case if you are using t-test, you are going to understand the differences. If you are going to use chi-square, you are going to actually understand the association between the variables. In case if you are using a correlation, you're going to study the relationship between the variables. Similarly, regression, you're going to understand its influence of multiple or individual dependent variables on independent variables on dependent variables. So this table is essential for you to understand the data analysis better. So I think you can take a note of it. Now we are moving on to few other information about SPSS. So data coding. What is data coding? What is data coding according to you? Is anyone? We're just going to have another 20 plus minutes. We are going to wind up. I need all your attention. Once again, what is data coding?
To run the
Ah,
collected data in SPSS, we have to convert the qualitative data into quantitative data through the
excellent,
process
madam.
of coding in Excel.
Perfect, perfect. Data coding, first thing
Thank you.
that you should comes into mind is Excel. I think madam has appropriately added it. She didn't stop with just coding or converting. You have to use Excel for data coding, which is very good. So I always tell as a research scholars or researchers, you need to have a perfect knowledge on MS Office. Just imagine if you want to do data analysis, you should use Excel. And if you want to draft a paper, you need MS Word. If you want to do a paper presentation, you need a PowerPoint. So similarly, right? I think Sir Adarsh Gupta sir has also appropriately stated its data coding is a process of assigning numerical values for the data that we have collected. Excellent. Yes. Convert raw data into a particular format, right? I always tell you, friends, that how much it is important to spend more time on drafting a questionnaire. Similarly, it is important to spend much time on data coding. While doing a coding work, you need to do a proper editing also based on the data that you have collected. Data coding and editing and doing appropriate correction is actually an art for a researcher. Now, can you see if I'm going to have one questionnaire as a part of the questionnaire is going to have socio-demographic profile, and I'm going to ask age in years. What is the type of measure if I'm going to ask exact age in years? Is it nominal, ordinal, or scale?
Um,
Uh,
No, no. There is
Ordinal.
no slab. There is no. Please carefully rewind. It is age and it has a proper unit of measure. And exactly I'm asking an age. Just to confuse you, I haven't given any options. I'm directly, yes. Again, Madam Swarna Priya is exactly right. It is actually a scale. If you're going to ask exact independent variable values, it is scale. Now coming to the second question, right? Educational qualification I'm asking. I have given nearly 8 options. It is a nominal, scale, or ordinal. It is a nominal, ordinal, or scale. Yes, quickly. Yes, answer is nominal. And now if you want to code it, if someone who have chosen undergraduate as their qualification in Excel, how are we going to code it? The code that you have to use is number 6. So this is just converting all the responses into numerical way. Now I have presented a dichotomous question like yes or no. and you are going to use 1 for yes and 2 for no. If you are using an ordinal questions by using 5-point Likert scale, where you normally label it as strongly agree to strongly disagree, it is going to be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So this is how you need to do a data coding. And as madam rightly said, we should always use data coding using Excel sheet. You need to be very good in Excel. Here, this is one of my ICSR project data sheet. We want to enter a village name, but we are not going to process it in data, but we just want to do it. We also have a sample category, whether a married women or a young girl or a college going girl or a school going girl. That is a sample category. From the third column onwards, fourth column onwards, we are going to code it, like age in years, education, number of children, number of boys, number of girls, and so on. So this is how you have to numerically do a data coding using Excel sheet. So now this is the last stage, how we are going to proceed with data analysis using SPSS, right? And I'm just stopping here. Now we are going to see virtually, we are going to see how we are going to use SPSS, right? So just to brief you once again, we started with the process of quantitative research, and we discussed about the type of data, types of variables, and types of measures that SPSS will consider. We also discussed on few statistical tests which may be processed using different variables as well as measures. And finally, I have shown you how data coding should be done. So friends, we are going to have another 20 minutes. Now I'm just going to use SPSS software application, and I will just show you what are all the various options that it got. And I will also tell you how data should be imported, how data coding should be done. Clear? Right? So now I'm going to share my entire screen for you to proceed further. Can you all see the screen? You can always stop me if you have any problem in viewing my screen. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So have a parallel a follow up with this YouTube viewers also, subscribers also. Good. So now this is a folder that I have prepared for day 1. So what is the first thing that we need to see? One is questionnaire. This is such an old questionnaire I use for almost all the 30 or 20 workshops I have taken, because this questionnaire has all the appropriate thing to explain. Can you see the questionnaire? What is the title of the study? Consumer behavior in? Yes? Can you all see
Online shopping.
Perfect. Yes. Online shopping. And gender. What is the type of data measure we have used? Nominal. Again, age groups, nominal. Marital status, nominal. Annual family income, again nominal. And 6, 7 is also a dichotomous question. And what is this type of question? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Likert scale.
Likert scale.
It's the Likert scale question, and it follows ordinal. Similarly, we have all ordinal here. Clear? So what measure is missing now in this questionnaire?
Scale.
Scale is missing. So we are going to discuss further with this. So here in this questionnaire, they are collecting demographic data, and they are also collecting data related to the usage of shopping websites, and they are also using a data related to their perception on various factors related to consumer behavior, like website safety, payment safety, product selection, transaction safety. There is also a measure of consumer satisfaction and consumer shopping experience. Clear? So these are all independent in nature, and these are all dependent in nature. This is a very basic understanding about questionnaire. Now I am keeping this questionnaire open. And now coding. Can you all see that I have already finished with the coding part? I'm just zooming it. Can you see it clearly?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So first thing, I have just left this name because I feel it is not needed for data analysis. So I started with gender. So what is the first option for gender? I have already given number also. 1 stands for male, 2 for female. Similarly for age, option is by number 1, 2, 3, 4. And for marital status. Similarly for all the variables, I have finished the coding. Can you all see this? Now tell me, do you have any doubts in doing this coding? You want me to manually delete it up and you want me to enter 2, 1? I think it's not needed, right?
Yes, sir,
Yes.
not needed.
So this is a basic understanding, observation on questionnaire and coding. Now I'm going to start with a fresh SPSS software application and I'm using a version 25. This is how it opens. It will take some time to open. Today we will just see how coding in SPSS should be done, how importing of data should be done and everything, right? So I'm just closing it. So if you take any application, what is the first thing that you all need to do? Whether it is a Word or Excel or PowerPoint or SPSS, what is the first thing that you all need to do? Anyone? Excellent. This looks very silly, but saving the file is very important. But most of the people forget to do. I know even many of my students do this. They just forget the saving thing, and they always toil themselves, spending so many hours in coding. Then finally they miss all their data. Only one problem is that they forget to save. So now, can you all notice one thing in the left corner? I have two screens. Now I'm in variable view. If I touch this, it is going to be data view. Can you all see this? I cannot do much zooming
Yes,
here, but this is data view. This is variable view. Okay. If you see variable view, it is little different. But if you see data view, it looks exactly similar to what?
Excel.
It looks exactly similar to Excel. So what is the general understanding? If it is looking similar to Excel, what we are going to do now?
Copy paste.
Okay. But SPSS is also giving you an option to import the data.
Okay.
Right. So in file, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to type something here to make sure that I'm saving this document, right, as SPSS data sheet. So I'm just going to give save and I'm just going to data view. In the first option file, I can open new data. I can also open the output file which is already saved in the system. I can import multiple type of files, but I never went beyond Excel and CSV data. And you can close, you can save, and you also go with few other options. If you're going to import data, I'm just going to select Excel, and already in this folder with today's date, we have Excel file. What is this Excel file actually? In which we have finished the data coding. If I'm going to give this open option, it's showing some error. File, open. Oh, I think already the file is open. So file, import Excel, and now it will show you the first sheet of it, and it will ask you the range, and we can import it. Now, what problem that actually the file got? It has also imported the which column? serial number
Serial
column
number.
in the Excel sheet, which is not needed, so you can clear it. So once you do this import, you need to check whether all the variables are appropriately imported, right? So this is the first option to import the data in your Excel file. Now, what is the next option? Now, what is the next option? One option is importing. Once I import, all the variable names that is there in the Excel as followed. Can you all see this? And when I delete this, it will be cleared, right? So again, you need to see only the major items will be entered. Label and all we have to give. So first option is to import. What is the second option?
To
What is the
analyze.
second option? We can
Save the file.
no, we already saved the file. We also imported it. First option of taking the data is importing. What is the second option? We can copy and paste it. Can you all see? Control C, Control V. Or you can just give right click. You can just go here, give right click, copy. And here you can just go right click and give paste. So in two ways you can import the data directly from the coded Excel sheet. One is importing the data file and second one is copy paste. Can somebody guess which is the preferred way of doing importing a data? Is it importing or doing a copy paste? Which is very much
Importing.
preferable? Importing. Okay. Right, importing is good, but copy paste will give you some exact update on the data. Sometime while importing, it will include all the unnecessary column and it will create some excess column in the data file, which is not needed. If you are very comfortable with Excel, I think you can copy and paste. That is more appropriate. Just give me a minute. Sorry. So copy paste is the better option. So I'm just stopping here with this data file and all this. Now we are moving on to the coding part, right? So how are we going to code it? Importing data, I think it is fine for you now. How are we going to do a coding here? First option is gender, which is directly entered. In case, right? If I want to delete this complete data, if I want to enter 1, maybe I want to say I want to mention it as a first question 1. Will it take? What is the error that I'm getting here? Variable name contains an illegal first character. Okay, which means this first column of name should always be alphanumeric and first digit of the first digit of the variable should always be numerical or in alpha.
A1, A2, A3.
Perfect. It should be alphanumeric. It cannot start with number. It should always start with, for example, Q1. You can also use capital Q1, capital Q2. And normally for gender, you can use gen also. Now, what is this column for? When you take this name column, it should be alphanumeric and this name is always should be very simplified, right? For example, gender, age, monthly salary and marital status and income. What is this for label? Label, whatever you're providing under this label column, it will exactly reflects in your SPSS. Can you all understand? Example, here if you want to have gender of the respondents, it will exactly reflects in your report. Age of the respondents, marital status, income. It can even be monthly income or annual income. We can see here. Okay, annual income. Maybe you want to give in lakhs, you can give in lakhs also. Label will take alpha, numeric, bracket, special characters and everything. And if you want to give what goods do you usually shop online, and I have 5 items here, and here I have again I think here it is 6.1. Okay, it is not included here. Okay, I think these questions are not included. I wonder, I think questionnaire got some edits. A 6.1, okay, till A 6.6 they have. I think they have one more option also. So we can even add others. So the coding has A 6.1 till A 6.6, and what we can do is we can just copy and we can paste it. Can you all see this? We can again copy these options and we can paste it to A 7.1 to 7.4. So similarly, the statements also B 1.5 you can paste it. Can you all see this? So copying these labels is quite easy, but again, what is a very important job that we need to do? Now name is ready, labels are ready. What is the next work? What is this column? Values. Now it's our job to do a valuing work, or this is the exact SPSS coding that we are actually discussing today. Now gender of the respondents, what is the value? This value denotes
1,
what?
2.
Excellent. 1. What is the label? Male. And 2. What is the label? Female. And you can give OK. Right? Can you all see this? So friends, all you need to understand is if you're going to proceed with this value coding, you need to be very careful. Exact value, whatever you have given in your questionnaire should be pasted here. And you have to be patiently doing all this coding work. Is it clear to all? If you do any misappropriate coding or if you have any errors in this coding work, then your result will be wrongly interpreted or wrongly presented. Here, you need to be very careful in doing this coding work. So Excel coding is very important and SPSS coding is also furthermore important. Now, what is the coding for age of the respondents? You have to manually do this. What is the label for the first one? Up to 30. Again, you can paste it. And 2, again 31 to 40. Again, you can paste it. So it will definitely take some time, but I know few of my friends, what they normally do is they will, without coding these values, they will directly run the analysis. Later, they do the labeling based on the questionnaire, which is wrong or which is not an encouraged way of disciplined analysis. So you need to patiently enter the value. And here now marital status, unmarried and married. You can also use single, but sometimes the single will denotes even divorcee also. So unmarried and married. Again, okay. So once again the coding goes like this with below 2 Sometimes you feel that you want to change the label, I want to use below 2 lakhs. What you can do, in the label you can remove. In the label you can remove the lakhs, then you can add it here. So this coding is exactly what you actually need in your report. So again 2 to 4 lakhs. Friends, are you all following it? Can I hear some yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Or is it so boring? Of course, it's boring, but still, these are all some essential things before we proceed with data analysis tomorrow. Today, we are not touching upon any major analysis. Maybe if time permits, we can even touch up. If time permits, I will tell you how to convert ordinal, but it's almost 11:28 now, right? So again, the coding part is over. Clear? So friends, this is how you need to do a coding. But again, here you have ordinal scale. I always feel very excited coding this ordinal scale. The reason is, when you code this ordinal scale, you have so many variables. All you can do is cut and paste. And you all know, based on the weightage, you have to give the thing. It is not always that should be 1, it should be 5, right? Always. That is strongly agree. And often, okay, it is nothing but like strongly agree to disagree and neutral and so on. So in the questionnaire itself, it is always good to have a proper coding that will save time, or you can even outsource the work of this coding. So never, rarely, sometime, often, always. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to copy and paste it here. Can you see? Once we paste, the coding is done. So any doubt in coding now? Anyone? Do you have any doubt in coding now?
No, sir.
Okay. So this is the perfectly coded SPSS sheet that I'm showing you now. Whenever you open SPSS file, there is one file which always open, the plain white file that always open. This is called as output document, right? So this is a coded file, right? Now, this is a data which is uploaded. This is a variable view. What is missing in this coded file? Can somebody find out from their first sight? Dear organizers, can I take another 5-10 minutes? Is it fine? Or at least
Sure,
5
sir.
minutes?
No issues. Sure, sir.
Okay, right. Because I just want to finish off this coding today and the basic things, so that tomorrow we can proceed with the bivariate analysis. So what is actually missing here is I haven't included these questions. Okay, but anyway, I will include it later and I will present it. Now, before proceeding with statistical analysis, what are some tables normally we include in our analysis? Can somebody guess? Or somebody guess and response. Provide your response.
Graph, chart.
Graph, chart. So just imagine, tables, graphs are normally given for what type of variables? All the frequencies or demographic variable. So all you're going to use is this analyze. Analyze is the 6th option in SPSS. Under analyze, you're just going to use this descriptive statistics, frequencies. Again, I repeat, analyze, descriptive statistics, frequencies. You can take a screenshot of it. When you touch upon this frequency, first 4 option are demographic in nature. I'm just going to touch this. You can play with this. Just click this arrow mark, you will get here. And you can go and see the quartile, percentile, because this is descriptive analysis. So you can see minimum, maxima, variance, standard deviation, mean, median, mode, and everything. Clear? I'm not going to do anything now, so I'm just cancelling it now. And again, if you want a chart, you can use bar chart or pie chart also. But is it advisable to use chart of SPSS or not? Anyone who already experienced with SPSS?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you really don't have time to use Excel, you can go with SPSS chart, or else it is always advisable to use Excel charts because that will be very impressive. Now, all I need to give is okay. So, all the output will be processed in this output file. Is that clear to all? So, what is the first thing that I got? Gender, male, female, percentage, age, marital, annual family income. How simple it is. I think for the first time users, you feel excited. Already you've seen this, you feel இதெல்லாம் எதுக்குப்பா சொல்றீங்க, you feel. But still, this is a very basic thing that we normally do in our research report: gender, age, marital, and annual income. Can you see the bar chart of gender, frequency, and everything? Right? Is it so appealing to you all? Not really, right?
Yes,
So,
sir.
if you really want, you can use it, or else what you can do is you can use Excel for graphical presentation. And my simple advice is when you do this kind of presentation for demographic or nominal data in your report, you should either use table or graph, not both. Is that clear to all? Right. Can somebody notice this first table statistics? Anyone? What is the statistics refers to? The statistics table will give you a deep understanding on the missing values.
Number of respondents responded.
Yes, perfect, excellent. For example, if the valid expected number entry is 165, now the missing is 0, which means we haven't missed any entries. For example, if I missed any 2 value, I'm just going to this Excel sheet, data view, and I'm just deleting 2 values. So this is mistakenly deleted, right? And now I'm going to run analyze descriptive statistics frequency, and I'm just giving okay, right? Again, it has to run the data. Now, can you see what is the difference in gender? Missing values are
2.
which means 2 values are missing. So once you finish data coding, all you need to do is go to analyze descriptive frequencies, move everything, and just give okay and see whether any missing values are there. I think it's loading. Every items are loading here. Can you see here? You can see missing values for all the variables here. And you can also see frequency table. And before doing a statistical analysis, it is always good to check the normality and also reliability. Reliability should be checked for ordinal variables normally, and normality should be checked using histograms or this Kolmogorov test. But what normally I do is I just use this descriptive statistics frequencies, and in the chart you will find histograms, and I just give histograms and I see whether I can see a bell curve here. Okay, not with the demographic, but with the 5-point Likert scale. Can you see the distribution of this bell curve? Right, 5-point scale. Can you see this particular variable and all having a bell curve or not? Anyone? If you draw a bell curve, this shows that it has a normal distribution. Normal distribution is nothing but the center value will always have some distribution perfectly at large quantity, right? So example, if you say this is also kind of a bell curve. So when you talk about the normality, this data has some level of normality. Especially see here, you can always find some specific normality, but this is a converted data which I will explain later. So can somebody sum up what we discussed now with regard to SPSS? We have just observed the questionnaire. We saw how Excel coding should be done and how SPSS should be open, saved, and data should be imported or copy pasted, and how SPSS coding should be done, and how frequency table should be presented. And I always tell you, when you do this frequency table also, you need to be very careful that you need to properly use Excel for presenting the data. If you take this age, just you can directly export this file, export the output file. Can you see here? Normally you can export it as a Word document, PowerPoint, and anything. I normally export it as an Excel file, and I give OK, and in downloads you can find this frequency table which is exported. Can you see this? And what normally I do is, I just take all this content alone and I paste it in a Word document. These are all merged thing. I will just copy this gender here, and here itself I try to do some formatting work like Times New Roman 12, and all the data should be appropriate, and I need only this column, and which should be centered. Normally we don't use frequency. Instead, what we normally use, number of respondents, small n or capital N? Small n?
Small n.
Yes, that is for sample. So I don't want any background color and all. So no fill. And the text color should always be black. So what I can do is I can just copy this. Exactly, I need to copy this and paste it in a Word document. So when you paste it in a Word document, you need to give a table title, table 1, showing the order of the respondents. And you can paste this table. You can paste it center, and you can also give source as primary data. I know that this is very primitive or very basic, but I just want all the research scholars to be using this thing, how they need to copy and paste and consider all this. And this should be bold, and this should be centered. Everything needs to be appropriately done. And to make it very specific, you can also, table 1 shows the gender of the respondent. So what will be your inference? You can type from the above table,
Table 1.
it is inferred that, and blah blah, you will type everything. So this is how it should be presented. If you feel that the table is not needed or it is not very much appropriate, what you can do, you can just insert a recommended chart, like maybe if you want to use this, you can insert a, sorry, I think I have even used total. You can insert a recommended chart like this, and here itself you can change the font like Times, and you can give 12, and you can change this as gender of the respondents. I know these are all basic, but I'm just giving some additional thing. What you can do is you can just copy it. Now what you need to do, you need to replace it. You should not have both. You should replace the table and it should become figure 1 shows the gender of the respondent. Here also from the above figure it is inferred. So friends, can you understand this, how the data should be presented? It is not that you can take your own call on this, but you need to follow some appropriate way of presenting in your report. So this is all about frequency data presentation. This is how you have to use the Excel file and so on, and this is how you need to save your files too. So this is all about SPSS coding. When you finish it up, it always asks you to first option you have to give yes, second option you have to give no if you don't want to save the data. For your kind information, I will show you my report, how the descriptive data are presented for you. For example, if you take so this is how I normally present the tables, which is all processed in SPSS. So you need to give some proper introduction, and you have to present a figure and inference. Again, figure, inference. So normally I don't include table. Figure and inference would be more appropriate. So I think I'm just stopping here, friends, today with this. I'm just stop sharing the screen also. So just again to sum up overall, today we have just understood the basics of SPSS. It is a basic introduction to SPSS. The day 1 of this 2-day workshop, and we discussed about the process of quantitative research. We also discussed about the types of data, variable measures including nominal, ordinal, and scale. We also understood how SPSS measures are validated using nominal and scale. What are the tests that we can practice? What is parametric and non-parametric? We also discussed how SPSS software should be saved, coded, how data should be imported, how frequency tables should be presented. Tomorrow, in day 2, we are going to see how descriptive statistics should be presented, and bivariate statistical tests like t-test, ANOVA, probably chi-square, if possible, we can do. So I think the session went well. For 90 minutes, it's almost 11:46. My sincere thanks to all the official authorities of SR Ramapuram campus. My special regards to the head, Madam Chitra, head of the department of Commerce, and also all the organizers. Especially thanks to Professor Eno for following up me for a week before, and keep on insisting on this workshop. It's really a pleasure for me to present it today. My sincere thanks to each and every participants who have especially responded well and interacted well throughout the session to make it very live and fruitful. Thank you all once again for patiently listening to this workshop. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And on behalf of Department of Commerce, SRM IST Ramapuram campus, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you for your active participation and contribution to our very first day workshop on Introduction to SPSS. First and foremost, I would like to express our sincere appreciation to our esteemed speaker, Dr. Chinna Muthu, for sharing his expertise, insights, and valuable knowledge with us. Your clarity in explaining the intricate concepts of SPSS has undoubtedly enriched our understanding and will prove to be invaluable in our respective field of work and study. Looking forward for attending your forthcoming sessions on univariate, bivariate, and multivariate analysis, sir. I would also like to extend our gratitude to all the participants who attended the workshop. Your enthusiasm, engagement, and thoughtful questions have truly made this event a success. Last but not least, a special thanks to our head of the department, program coordinators, and our fellow faculties whose support has been instrumental in facilitating this workshop and promoting continuous learning within our community. Once again, I thank you all for your participation and contribution to this workshop. We look forward to welcoming you to our future event as well. Participants are requested to fill the feedback form which is shared in chat box as well as in YouTube live streaming. And the form will be kept open only for 10 minutes. So I request everyone to fill the feedback form